Books. The absolute classic medium of entertainment that has spanned centuries. Books of your favourite shows are usually seen as supplementary merchandise, usually an easy way to tell new stories of your favourite characters, or heck, some of your favourite characters even debuted as books, such as Thomas for example. TUGS, while it didn't debut as a book series, unlike its sister show, TUGS had, no pun intended, a boatload of books released throughout its run, including some that I will talk about at another time. Today I'll be focusing on the incredibly interesting picture book releases of TUGS. While a few of them such as High Tide are really not that interesting, some of these books had turned out to be a goldmine of alternate or outright deleted scenes. One of these even seems to be based on their original extended cuts. So today on SonicWalle, let's all talk about the TUGS picture books.
And you might like to know that you can now get TUGS books from all good bookshops and that the series music is also available from high street record shops.
Hold on, I think I'm forgetting something. Yeah, by the way, before we begin, as always, I must cite my sources for this video. Shoutouts to the TUGS Wiki and the History of TUGS Google document for serving as my sources for this video. Links to History of TUGS are in the description. Anyways, let's truly begin. Shortly after TUGS' original UK broadcast, 4 picture book adaptations of the episodes were released, adapted by Penny Morris, these being Sunshine, Pirate, High Winds, and Warrior's Longest Day, with 6 more of these style of books coming out in the following year, that being, in no order, The Unlucky Tug, which is Jinxed, Trapped, Ghost Fleet, which is Ghost, High Tide, Upriver, and Big City Freeze, which is obviously Big Freeze. Some of these book adaptations of the episodes notably contain name differences when compared to their final title, such as Jinx being called The Unlucky Tug, Ghost being called Ghost Fleet, and most infamously, Warrior using its original title as per the long version work print, Warrior's Longest Day. Only 3 episodes would not be released as picture books, which were Regatta, Quarantine, and Munitions. The picture books were also released as either paperback covers or hardcovers. The hardcover picture books are allegedly extremely hard to find apparently, so you better consider yourself lucky if you manage to find them. They were also released only as hardcovers in Japan, pretty much acting as direct translations for the picture books. These books on the surface don't really look like much, besides some of the old episode names being used. However, the more we look deep into these books, something becomes quite clear. These books appear to not be based on their final 15-minute broadcast versions, but besides maybe High Tide, as none of the infamous deleted scenes from its 20 are present in the picture book. Pirate I'm also excluding as it's almost identical to its 20-minute cut, and, well, it was released on VHS, so we have it, so yeah. This leaves us with 8 of the 10 books being quite interesting to look at. However, I'll be only deep diving through 3, Sunshine, Warrior's Longest Day, and High Winds, as these best showcase how different the photo books can be when compared to the release versions of the episodes. So with that all being said, let's start off with Sunshine, which I happen to own myself. Now normally that you would think that during the time that the book was released among the others, that Sunshine would at least be based on its final 20-minute cut. However, the more you look into this book version of the episode, the more it differentiates when compared to the final 20 and 15-minute cuts of the episodes. First, there is a deleted scene between Zoran and Zack spying on the Star Tugs, which is when they go tell Captain Zero about the Duchess contract being given to the Star. This was simply a scene that was deleted from the final episode, although footage from it was repurposed in the first Zero briefing scene. Now that would be one thing to be based on an early version of the 20, but it appears that many details within the Sunshine book appears to predate the version of the episode script that was used for filming. My question is then why Pirate in particular ended up adapting so nearly perfectly in book form, while Sunshine appears to sound like an early draft. Doesn't really sound like they are adaptation alterations if the Zero spying scene is included. It just sounds a bit far-fetched in my opinion. Anyways, the most interesting deleted scene that is absent in any of the final edits of the episode would be a deleted scene of the Z-Stacks blocking the Star Tugs from getting to the Duchess. While there is no evidence of this being ever filmed, it is still quite interesting to think about what could have been of this version of the episode. Warrior's Longest Day is also interesting for similar reasons with what Sunshine has, albeit the 24 Warrior only survives for an incomplete work print. Please note that what we currently have with the work print of Warrior is not all of it, and this section of the video may end up being a little outdated potentially in the future. Right off the bat, while the alternate opening scene from the 20 is missing in the photo book, there is quite an interesting difference between the edited versions of the episodes in the photo book. Instead of Warrior talking to the quarry master, he instead speaks to a crane. This immediately confirms that the draft of the picture book that Penny Morris used was earlier than the work print, as the work print footage shows the quarry master as he is in the final episode. In fact, another interesting difference can be only found in the work print, in this scene where Top Hat encounters Sunshine. From what we can hear in the work print, go watch Trainboy9705's video on the Warrior's work print for context, the dialogue appears to be very different between the work print and the picture book. We can also use the leaked description for the long version work print to give us an idea of how different the Top Hat scene was. In the work print, Top Hat complains about how Warrior gets the bigger jobs while he's stuck on garbage detail. And while it is hard to hear in the video recordings, the description pretty much matches the video recordings and confirms the context of the work print scene. In the picture book, Top Hat is significantly harsher on Warrior and claims that the captain should fire him, and the scene also appears to be much shorter in length than what was seen in the work print. Probably the most interesting difference between the videos and the book is the scene of the Z-Stacks encountering Izzy Gomez. It is actually a bit different in the book adaptation, with Zoran pretending to be a dock police officer, with Izzy waking up in horror before it being revealed to be the Z-Stacks. The context is completely different in both the work print and the final episode, with Zoran simply telling Izzy to get lost after passing him. There's definitely a whole lot more differences in the book when compared to the episode, but I think it's time to look at the most interesting one of them all. High Winds is the very last book that we will be taking a look at. Unlike Warrior and Sunshine, which appear to be based on much earlier drafts of the episode, High Winds appears to be seemingly based not on the 15-minute cut, but on the 20-minute cut of the episode, as the details, dialogue and pictures of the deleted scenes absolutely line up with what we have of the 20-minute cut, which heavily implies the draft that Penny Morris received for adaptation was most likely a near, if not final version of the 20-minute version script. This book pretty much confirmed what fully happened in the episode and lines up with the details that we have for it, namely the timing sheet. The biggest finds in the book namely pertain to the scrap zero briefings in the episode. While no pictures of the first briefing has resurfaced, footage from this scene was reused in the 15-minute intro for the show, as seen here. Another very interesting deleted scene is the infamous Lily Lightship scene. And now before you ask, hey, those pictures aren't from High Winds, those are from Regatta. And you're right. Except the Lily scene was actually originally from High Winds. Confusing? I know, let me explain. Namely, the aesthetic and Lily's concerned expression are the big giveaways to the scene being repurposed from High Winds. In fact, the footage mainly survives as stock footage as seen in Regatta. Overall, this book is extremely amazing to have and kinda acts as a nice glimpse into what High Winds' 20 could have been. And while it remains to be seen if a work print of the episode still exists, it remains as a highlight in your TUGS collection if you happen to own the picture book of the episode. And that, my friends, is the basic analysis on the picture book versions of the TUGS episodes. Definitely wonderful pieces of TUGS memorabilia worth owning. Whenever it is the paperback, hardcover, or Japanese versions, they are indeed amazing pieces of memorabilia from the show, and are always such a fascinating way to look into alternate versions of your favourite TUGS episodes. Hopefully you all learned something with these incredible leftovers of TUGS history, and I hope to see you all next time for another analysis. This is SonicWalle, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye!